कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा चारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राघव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय श्री श्री राधा माधव की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, The Creation of the Fourth Order, Chapter 13, The Descendants of Dhruva Maharaj, verse number 32 and 33. So we'll recite verse number 33. Canto 4, Chapter 13, verse number 33. तथा स्वभागधेयानि ग्रहीष्यन्ति दिवौकस यत् यज्ञपुरुष साक्षात् अपात्याय हरिर्वृत. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Translation. When Hari, the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices, is invited to fulfill your desire for a son, all the demigods will come with him and take their shares in the sacrifice. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Whenever a sacrifice is performed, it is meant for satisfying Lord Vishnu, the enjoyer of the fruits of all sacrifices. And when Lord Vishnu agrees to come to a sacrificial arena, all the demigods naturally follow their master, and their shares are offered in such sacrifices. The conclusion is that the sacrifices performed are meant for Lord Vishnu, not for the demigods. Om Ajnantimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 13, verse number 32 and 33. Translation. O King, we wish all good fortune for you. You have no son. But if you pray at once to the Supreme Lord and ask for a son, and if you execute the sacrifice for that purpose, the enjoyer of the sacrifice, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, will fulfill your desire. When Hari, the Supreme Enjoyer of all sacrifices, is invited to fulfill your desire for a son, all the demigods will come with him and take their shares in the sacrifice. Hare Krishna. So King Anga, his priests are performing a sacrifice, but they are seeing that the demigods are not responding to the chanting of mantras and accepting. They inform the king that everything is fine, our chanting, our pronunciation, our samagri, but still the demigods are not accepting. And in this life you have not committed any sinful activity, but in past life you have committed some sin, and hence you are not destined to have a son. So the king is inquiring what to do, and the priest says that you pray to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and you pray to him for a son and perform a yajna for him. He is Yajna Purush. He is the actual, original enjoyer of the sacrifice. So when you pray to Krishna and perform a sacrifice to please Krishna, Vishnu, he will fulfill your desire, and automatically the demigods will come, because Krishna is their master, and they will take the share of the sacrifice. So we see many times in Vedic scriptures, great kings, they want a son. And in order to have a good son, they perform austerities, penances, sacrifices. And even if it is not destined, but still they receive by the mercy of Vishnu. This is a unique relationship between Krishna and his devotees. We are not stones, so we will have desires. And in order to fulfill those desires, we should go to Krishna. And Krishna, out of great love for his devotees, happily fulfill those desires. Those who go to Krishna, Krishna becomes pleased, even if one goes for material desire. Of course, that is not highest. The highest is Anya Abhilashita Shunyam, no material desire. Go to Krishna to serve Krishna. Go to Krishna to please Krishna. Go to Krishna to fulfill Krishna's desire of enjoyment. But nevertheless, if somebody goes to Krishna for a material desire, still that is acceptable, though it is not highest. And Krishna responds. It is like a wife going to husband because she wants sari or ornaments. If she doesn't disturb the husband, very nice. But if she has a desire and she has to ask, don't go to the neighbor, go to husband. If the wife goes to neighbor and says, I want sari, I don't want to disturb my husband, will the husband be happy? Not at all. He will bring 10, he say, I'll bring you 10 saris, but don't go to neighbor. So in the same way, if you want to disturb Krishna, If you don't disturb him, very nice. But if you want to ask, don't ask neighbor. Don't ask Brahma, Shiva, Indra, Chandra, Varun, Vayu, Surya, Durga, Ganesh. Ask Krishna, he will fulfill. We have example of Dhruva Maharaj, a 5-year-old boy, the son of Uttanapat. And once he saw Uttam, his brother, sitting on the lap of his father. So Dhruva Maharaj also developed desire to sit on the lap of his father, so he tried to climb. And Uttam's mother, Suruchi, Uttam and Dhruva both have common father, Uttanapat, but different mothers. Uttanapat has 2 wives, Suruchi and Suniti. Dhruva Maharaj's mother is Suniti and Uttam's mother is Suruchi. And somehow Uttanapat has favoritism. Suruchi is his favorite wife and he neglects Suniti. So when Dhruva, Suniti's son, tries to climb the lap of his father, Suruchi, she chastises Dhruva. He said, you can't climb. You can't sit on the lap of your father. You can't sit on the throne of your father because you are not born from my womb. So you are not eligible. Uttanapa loves both his sons equally, but in front of Suruchi he couldn't speak anything. He remained silent. And Dhruva became very angry and crying and upset. And crying, he went to his mother, Suniti, who heard everything. And she started crying. She picked up her son in her lap and he said, my dear Dhruva, it is very unfortunate that even though I am the queen and wife of King Uttanapat, but he doesn't seize me as his wife or even as his maid servant. He doesn't even visit my room. He only likes to spend time with my co-wife Suruchi. So I can't do anything for you in this situation. If you want to sit on the throne of your father, if you want a kingdom, then in this condition only one person can help you. That's Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the one who gave the kingdom of Earth planet to your grandfather Manu Maharaj, who gave it to Uttanapat. He is the one who gave kingdom of this whole universe to your great grandfather Lord Brahma. He is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the master of all the universes. He is the supreme enjoyer and supreme proprietor and supreme creator and supreme controller. And he is present in your heart and my heart and in every atom as Paramatma. He is the one who gives benedictions to his devotees. He is the one who protects his devotees. He is the one who maintains all the universe. Jagannath, the Lord of the universe. So only he can help you. I can't help you. I am your mother, but his love for you is like millions of mothers combined together. That much he loves you. So Dhruva Maharaj became determined. He said, where is Krishna? Where is Vishnu? She said, I don't know. Generally those who want to search for him go to the forest, and 5-year-old boy left the palace in search for the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the forest of Vrindavan. There he met Narad Muni, who initiated him and told him the process of bhakti, and in 6 months of severe penance, Dhruva Maharaj received darshan of Lord Vishnu. And Dhruva Maharaj, with tears of ecstasy in his eyes, he prayed that I was looking for a broken piece of glass and I got diamond. I got your darshan. Now I don't want anything. But still, knowing his desire, Vishnu gave him a kingdom bigger than his father Uttanapat's kingdom, bigger than his grandfather Manu Maharaj's kingdom, bigger than his great grandfather Brahma's kingdom. And which kingdom is bigger than Brahma's kingdom? That's Vaikuntha. He gave him Vaikuntha. He gave him his own house. Lakshmi Narayan were staying in one particular Vaikuntha planet, and they emptied it and gave to Dhruva Maharaj, and they shifted to Shvetadvip. And that Dhruva Maharaj is even today present in pole star Dhruva Tara, which is the center of the universe. That's part of Vaikuntha. When the material world is destroyed, that planet doesn't get destroyed. So Dhruva Maharaj desired to have a kingdom bigger than his father's kingdom, grandfather's kingdom, great-grandfather's kingdom got fulfilled. Lord Vishnu fulfilled that. And with that he gave him pure devotional service. He gave him purification. His heart was purified of all material desires. So that's Krishna, who fulfills the desires of his devotees in a way more than they can imagine. And while he fulfills the desire, he cleanses their heart of all the anarthas, dirty things, and gives them spiritual advancement, gives them Krishna Prem. When both Diti and Aditi separately approach Kashyap Muni for a son, Diti approached Kashyap Muni for a son to kill Indra, and Aditi approached Kashyap Muni for a son to help Indra, separate times. In both cases, Kashyap Muni told them the only way your desire can be fulfilled is when you worship Lord Vishnu. He fulfills the desires of all the devotees. You see, even Kashyap Muni as an ideal husband, as an ideal spiritual master, is training his subordinate, his wife, his disciple to worship Vishnu. That is the way we should respond to people who approach us as preachers. We should help people to get connected to Krishna. We should help people to develop dependence on Krishna. We should help people to develop faith on Krishna. Not that people develop faith on me and they become dependent on me and I become in between them and Krishna. That's not our job. Our job is to serve Krishna in such a way that people develop devotional dependence on Krishna. Not become in between, that you can serve Krishna only through me. Everybody has an opportunity to serve Krishna directly. Each soul is a part and parcel of Krishna. Who are we in between? So devotees' desire can be fulfilled and their heart be purified at the same time when they approach Krishna, who lovingly, happily fulfills the desires of his devotees. When Sanatana Goswami was staying in Vrindavan and one merchant approached him because his boat was stuck in the shallow waters of Yamuna, Sanatana Goswami told him to worship Madan Mohan. He will take care of your problem. That's an ideal spiritual master who helps the disciple to approach Krishna. And when Krishna fulfills our desires, we progress in spiritual life. When demigods fulfill our desire, we get entangled in material world. See, there is a difference. It's like father. Father will fulfill the desire of the child only if it is beneficial to the child. If it is not beneficial to the child, he will not fulfill. But the demigods are not like that. If we follow the process, they will fulfill. If a young child has money in the pocket and goes to a shop to purchase cigarette, what will the shopkeeper do? He will give him cigarette because money is there. But the shopkeeper is father of the child, will he give him cigarette? He said no. He'll say no, you don't smoke cigarette. Father will say no, but general shopkeeper will say yes. And the boy will think shopkeeper is so nice, father is not nice. But no, father is saying no because that's not good for you. So sometimes our desires are not fulfilled, so we should know. Krishna knows that it's not good for me. We should continue developing intense dependence on Krishna and be patient to respond. Be patient for his response. So great kings like Dashrath Maharaj, Chitraketu Maharaj, they approach Krishna and his representatives to have a son. And they will get a son, and at the same time they will advance in spiritual life. Any process of sacrifice is meant for enjoyer of sacrifice, Hari, Yagya, Purush. Any process of tapasya, any process of gaining knowledge, any process of worship, any charity, anything we do, it's for Krishna. Krishna is the enjoyer. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachid Anand Vigra Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, when human society perform yajna, then the demigods will get pleased and they will give rains. And the rains will give grains. And on that grain the mankind will subsist. This yajna is born of prescribed duties mentioned in the scriptures. And in this whole process, when Vishnu is pleased, then demigods are automatically pleased. So yajna is performed for Vishnu. Penance is performed for Vishnu. Fasting is done for Vishnu. Puja, worship is done for Vishnu. Charity is done for Vishnu. Knowledge is acquired for Vishnu. All processes we do, all occupations we do, it should be done for Krishna, it should be done for Vishnu. Not for selfish reasons, not for self-promotion, not for material benefit, not for elevation to heavenly planets, not for coming number one in any competition, not out of envious that others are doing, so let me do. Not to perform any show that I am also dharmic person. Not for demigods. Not for cricket match or election or any such nonsense. It's not that election is coming, so let me do sacrifice. Or cricket match is coming, so let me do sacrifice. Or something like that. Some people do sacrifice for house, new shop. All this is done only for Vishnu, not for anything else. We should use our life, our skill, our talent, our karma, our work, everything, our occupation for pleasing Krishna. Otherwise it is shrama eva hi kevalam, is donkey's work. A donkey does lots of hard work with lots of energy, but what is the use? Everything is zero. So in the same way, we should not be like a donkey working hard for nothing. Human form of life is only meant for worshipping Vishnu, not for being greedy to earn money, or being greedy for material happiness, or being greedy to amass property, or lots of sense objects, or having a big house and car and a big family, and having name and fame that I am a good person, or I am a wealthy person, or I am a famous person. That is all nonsense. It's like pig eating stool. That is of no value. Human form of life is meant for pleasing Vishnu. If our occupation doesn't give us attraction to Krishna, then that occupation is useless. Shrama eva hi kevalam. That talent is useless. That education is useless. That wealth is useless. And that life is useless. So anything which helps us to worship Vishnu, to please Vishnu, we should accept it. And that which doesn't help us in progressing Krishna consciousness, we should reject it, we should stop doing it, we should renounce it. And whatever we are doing in the day, it should be for pleasure of Krishna, whether you are cooking, or whether you are visiting your relatives, or whether you are inviting guests, or whether you are going anywhere, or whether you are earning, or whether you have some talent which you are using. It should be all for pleasure of Krishna. Under the guidance of a pure devotee, we should learn how to please Krishna. Charity we should give for the pleasure of Krishna, to to devotees, to cows, Tapasya we should do for pleasing Krishna, which means we follow fasting on Ekadashi and we follow 4 regulatory principles. And biggest tapasya is get up early morning, take shower and attend Mangalarati and chant 16 rounds of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra early morning, Brahma Muhurta period, and Guru Puja and Bhagavatam class every day. And knowledge is for Krishna, that means we read and hear Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. And worship is for Krishna, that means we worship only Krishna and Guru. So everything is only for Krishna. We should not divert our life, our duties, our activities, our any assets for worshipping somebody else or demigods or for sense enjoyment, personal or extended, wasting time watching cricket or watching movies or reading news or reading magazines and novels or doing gossip with our neighbors and friends or wasting time on internet. No, we should just use our 24 hours in service of Krishna, in glorifying Krishna. Our life should be only for Krishna. Then that is successful life. Otherwise we get continuously entangled in this material world. And whatever we earn, we should give the result to Krishna. And that way our income is purified, our house is purified, our kitchen is purified, our life is purified. So the priests are saying that, my dear king, you have a desire for a son and you pray to Hari. He is the supreme enjoyer of all sacrifices. And when you pray, he will fulfill your desire. And accordingly, when you perform yajna, the demigods will come because their master has come. And that's true. The demigods are servants of Krishna and they know that. When Hiranyakashipu performed severe penances and received the boon from Lord Brahma, and with the help of that boon that nobody will kill him, he became most powerful and he conquered all the heavenly planets. And he conquered the throne of Indra. And he sat on the throne of Indra. And from that he ruled the whole universe. And he controlled sun, the movement of sun, the day and night. He controlled the movement of moon. He controlled Mother Earth. He controlled rain. He controlled all nature. He controlled the demigods and the sages and the planets and the stars. He was so powerful that when he want, day would occur, when he want, night would occur, when he want, climates would change, when he want, earth would give accordingly grains and fruits and flowers and minerals, and the ocean will give minerals. Everything was under his control. And he was using demigods as his servants. When he would go to washroom, he would go on a palanquin. And demigods will carry that palanquin. And demigods will stand trembling in front of him with folded hands, and for no reason he will chastise the demigods. So all these demigods were very disturbed. Such a big terror, such a big headache. So finally they, together with Brahma, approached Lord Vishnu. Said, my dear Lord, it's too much, only you can help us. And Lord Vishnu said, don't worry, you continue chanting and hearing my glories. And when Hiranyakashipu tortures his son Prahlad, I will come and kill him. And he did that in the form of Narsingadev. Again, when Bali Maharaj conquered the Indra planet and all the demigods, they went on a war, on a battle with Bali Maharaj, and they all got defeated and wounded. And somebody's hand got fractured, somebody's leg got fractured, somebody's eye got blind, and so much worse situation. They again approached Vishnu with Lord Brahma, and again Vishnu told them, now it's a time, you make a truce and do churning of the ocean and get Amrita, and after drinking Amrita you go on a war, I will help you. Then only you can conquer Bali Maharaj this time. So again all the demigods approached Vishnu for protection. When Mother Earth in a form of cow approached Lord Brahma, because there were too many asuras on the planet Earth killing the citizens, again all the demigods approached Lord Vishnu in Shvetadvip. And he told, I will come as Krishna. So repeatedly demigods, when they want protection, they go to Vishnu. And when Vishnu incarnates, they come down to offer prayers. When the child Vishnu is in the womb, when Krishna is in the womb of Devaki, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is in the womb of Mother Sachi, the demigods come and offer prayers. And they come and offer services. So wherever Vishnu goes, the demigods go. When Akrura came to Vrindavan on behalf of Kansa to take Krishna Balram to Mathura on his chariot, so in the return journey, when he was crossing the river Yamuna, he sought permission from Krishna Balram, who was sitting on the chariot, that if you permit, can I take bath in river Yamuna? So they halted under a tree, and Akrura went and took bath in river Yamuna. And when he went inside the water, he saw same Krishna in the form of four-handed Narayana, and same Balram in the form of Anant Shesh. And Krishna was smiling, sitting on Anant Shesh. And all the demigods and the associates and Narad Muni and Nanda and Sunanda and Indra, Chandra, Brahma, Shiva, they were all there offering prayers and offering glorification and praises to Lord Vishnu and paying prostrated obeisances or offering various services. And Akrura, he saw this and was surprised. And then when he came out, he saw Krishna Balram sitting on the chariot under a tree. So inside water he saw Krishna Balram, and outside water he saw Krishna Balram. And inside he saw such a wonderful scene, with all the associates and demigods offering prayers. So he came out now, after seeing Krishna Balram in the form of Vishnu and Sheshnag, he was no longer fearful of Kans. Earlier he was fearful of Kans, but now he was no longer fearful of Kans. He knew Krishna will kill Kans. He is the master of the universes, all the demigods. He is the master of all the demigods. So he came out and Krishna smiled and he said, Oh Akrura, what happened? You took so much time to take bath. Did you see anything wonderful inside waters? Krishna asked him. And Akrura said, Oh dear Lord, after seeing you, there is nothing more wonderful to be seen. Which means Krishna is the highest wonder of this world. And that's true. There is a whole chapter in Krishna book called Wonderful Krishna, where all the Brajavasis are talking about wonderful experience they have with Krishna, wonderful pastimes of Krishna. Krishna is Adbhut, Krishna is wonderful. So all the demigods, they go to Krishna for protection. All the demigods receive strength from Krishna, all the demigods receive authority from Krishna. The results which demigod give to their own worshippers also comes from Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, if a person who worships the demigod, then the faith towards that demigod is given by Krishna. The process of worship is given by Krishna. And the result which the demigod gives to his worshipper is also given by Krishna. But such people are alpa medhasa, they are less intelligent. They are less intelligent, and what they are doing is avidhiki purvakam, that's improper way of worship. If you want to water a tree and you water one spoon of water on each leaf, it's an improper way of taking care of a tree. You just put water in the root of the tree. That's the proper way to maintain the tree. In the same way, Krishna is the root of this whole universe. So the proper way to worship demigods is to worship Krishna. The proper way to achieve the goal of life is to worship Krishna. A proper spiritual or religious path is to worship Krishna. Sarva Karana Karanam. So Krishna says those who worship demigods, they are worshipping me only, but in a wrong way. So why to do wrong? Why don't we do right? Which means we just worship Krishna. Yudhishthira Maharaj, when he became king of Indraprasth and Indraprasth was established properly, he did Rajsuya Yajna, and he invited all the great rishis and munis and brahmanas and sadhus and demigods and kings, and Bhishma Pitama was there, and Vyasdev and Narad Muni and Indra, Chandra, Varun, Vayu and all other Brahma, Shiva, great demigods, and Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana and Karna and Shakuni and Dushasan, all great sages, and Vashishta and Parshuram, everybody was there. And in front of all of them, he did Agra Puja of Lord Krishna. So Yudhishthira Maharaj, why did he do such a Rajasuya Yagna? To promote himself? No, to promote Krishna. He wanted to show to the whole world that Krishna, I am doing Agra Puja because he is greater than Bhishma Pitama, he is greater than Dhritarashtra, he is greater than Vyasdev, he is greater than Narad Muni, he is greater than Yamaraj, he is greater than Brahma, he is greater than Shiva, he is greater than Indra, Chandra, Varun, Vayu, Durga, Ganesh, Agni. He is greater than all the demigods, all the sages, all the rishis, all the kings, all the great personalities. He is greatest. That's why I am doing his puja first. Agra Puja, first worship, greatest personality. To show to the whole world that Krishna is greatest, Yudhishthira Maharaj arranged a Rajasuya Yagna. And to show to the whole world that I am devotee of Krishna and I am so opulent and so powerful. To show to the whole world that if you worship Krishna, all your desires will be fulfilled. It is a misconception that if you worship Krishna, you will be poor and you will be unwealthy and you will be distressed and in misery. See, look at me. I am not in distress. I am not in misery. I am not poor. I worship Krishna and this is what I got. So it is a misconception. So if you worship Krishna, you are greatest. And Krishna is greatest. To prove this, he did Rajasuya sacrifice. So we should dedicate our life to Krishna. The only sacrifice in Kali Yuga is Sankirtan Yagna. So whatever we do it with holy name of Krishna. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was teaching in East Bengal to his students, there was one very big scholar, Tapan Mishra. Tapan Mishra was a very great scholarly Brahmana. And he had studied all the available books, all the scriptures, and all the authors, and all the commentaries, tikas. He has studied all the books. He was such a big scholar. And because he had studied all the books, he was highly confused. He was not clear what is the goal of life. You know, those who study too many books, this happened with them. This is intellectual self-gratification. To read everything, to study everything. They end up not having clear goal of life. So Tapan Mishra was very confused. What is the goal of life? And he couldn't ascertain. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was in his location, at that time one Brahmana came in the dream of Tapan Mishra. And he told him, there is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, a grammar teacher in your location. You go to him, he will solve all your confusion because he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. So next day Tapan Mishra went to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and he asked him, what is the goal of life? I have read this book, I have read that book, I have read commentary, I have read this commentary, I have read that commentary, I have read that Acharya, I have read this Acharya, I have read this author, I have read that author, but I am very confused. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu smiled. He told him very simply, the goal of life is to perform devotional service to Krishna. And the only way to do that is chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That's the only way. And Tapan Mishra started following that and he received all the peace. All his confusion was gone. So much so that he told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I will leave my house and I will accompany you. I will stay with you. Chaitanya said, no, you stay here. And once you are free from your duties, you go and stay in Varanasi. After I take sannyas, I will come and meet you in Varanasi. And when he went to Varanasi, Tapan Mishra is the one who hosted Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and helped him during his preaching in Varanasi. And there when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave knowledge to Sanatana Goswami, Tapan Mishra was also present. And he got conclusive knowledge of devotional service. So we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself who came down to tell us that the only process which will work in Kali Yuga is chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So that's the only sacrifice, that's the main tapasya, that's the main knowledge, that's the main worship. That's the main process we have to do without diverting our attention to anything else. We should chant the holy name of Krishna, we should chant minimum 16 rounds early morning in Brahma Muhurta. And now there is lockdown, so please chant more rounds, 20 rounds, 30 rounds, 40 rounds. 64 rounds, 100 rounds. Read Bhagavad Gita, read Bhagavatam, memorize shlokas, worship Krishna, hear classes, associate with devotees in this way. And in that way, we use this lockdown to get free from the cycle of birth and death, to get free from material existence. So King Anga has been requested to fulfill his desire by worshipping Krishna. In the same way, we should fulfill our desires by worshipping Krishna, whether we have material desire, whether we don't have material desire, or whether we desire liberation, sarva kama, moksha kama, akama. We should worship Krishna. We should serve Krishna. We should dedicate this life to Krishna. For many of us, we don't know how many years we have, maybe 20, 30 or more or less. This life we should use only for Krishna. And in that way, we will be successful by going back home, back to Godhead. Okay, we'll end here. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Are there any comments or questions? You may please ask. Yeah, any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Kaustubh Krishna Prabhu.
In this shloka number 33, it says that when the sacrifice is performed and Lord Vishnu is satisfied and he comes, along with him, all the demigods come and they also get the share of sacrifice. What is that share of sacrifice which goes to the demigods?
That's Mahaprasad. So whatever is offered in the sacrifice, they also get. The performance of yajna pleases the demigods, and that is how they perform their duty. So indirectly, it's like vote. You give vote, then the government is stable to perform its duty. So when you do yajna, the demigods perform their duty. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, any more questions?
Krishna Bandha Prabhu.
Haribol. Yeah, somebody at the door. Okay, tell me. Yes, next question.
Now the question is, Krishna Bandha Prabhu, your voice is not coming. Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, am I audible?
Yes.
Am I audible? Okay. Now the question is, Prabhuji, you had mentioned about the Samudra Manthar now, that they'll get the nectar and then they can fight Bali Maharaj. Now my question is, that means it was between the demigods and the demons, the Samudra Manthar was happening on either side. And at that time they accepted the superiority of Vishnu, these demons.
Yeah, demons always accept superiority of Vishnu.
So I thought they were inimical towards the Supreme.
They are inimical, but whenever such truce happens, Vishnu is always accepted as superior. Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh are always accepted as superior.
Okay, Prabhu.
But when Vishnu takes side of the demigods, then demons get angry. And they fight.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna.
Satya Kiraj Prabhu. Kindly unmute.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhu, my question is again to do with demigods only. So, my question is, suppose if you offer anything to the Devatas, why is it understood or why is it always considered that, they will not offer it to Lord Vishnu or Krishna? Because the thing is, they are also devotees of Lord Vishnu only. So if we offer anything to Devatas, ideally they should offer it to Lord Vishnu and then we accept. So, yes, little bit.
No, Krishna is saying those who worship demigods as Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means you go to demigod and worship him as if he is Supreme Personality of Godhead. That's not acceptable.
Yes.
And that offering is impure. So that's avidyaki purvakam. If somebody goes to demigod as a senior Vaishnava, to seek blessings in Krishna consciousness, that's fine. And if you go to a senior Vaishnava, why will you give him bhoga? You offer it to Krishna and then give him Mahaprasad. That's a better way. So demigods are senior Vaishnavas and they can bless us in Krishna consciousness if you have a proper attitude of worshipping them as senior Vaishnavas, not worshipping them as Supreme Personality of Godhead. And whatever we offer them, it should be offered to Krishna first, so that we are offering them Mahaprasad rather than putting bhoga in their hands.
So, Prabhu, if a third person offers to Devatas, in such a case, what happens? Wouldn't Devatas offer it to Lord Vishnu again?
Third person offers to Devatas with what attitude?
The attitude is Devata, that's it, they just offer it to them.
Yeah, but that's not a good way, na? If you are offering something to a senior Vaishnava, what you should give him? Offered prasad or unoffered food? Right? If you invite a senior Vaishnava to your house, what will you tell? Look, I have already cooked, now you offer it to Krishna and then eat. No, we'll offer to Krishna and then offer him Mahaprasad, right? That's the proper way. So if you are worshipping demigods, you as seniors, then you offer them after offering to Krishna, they will be pleased. That's the proper way. And seek their blessings for advancing in Krishna consciousness. Is that okay?
Yes, completely.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Any more questions?
Anyone would like to ask this question? Please raise the hand.
Okay, we'll end here.
Okay, Prabhu.
Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.
We'll all say Haribol for three
Next time, Hari.